Yay!
Yay. So welcome everybody. David, it's a pleasure to have you on our channel finally.
Yeah,
Thank you. Good to be here.
I'm loving your videos. Your transmission is beautiful. So direct.
Absolutely. There's a simplicity and a lot of detail in the little nuances of how this can be.
Hmm.
I just find this like it's such a fun thing to talk about because there aren't any rules because you're
Yeah.
not talking about anything that's like has objective qualities. So it's really like freeing to be able
Yeah.
to kind of talk about experience, yeah, and not have it mean anything.
Yeah, it's infinite meaning, whatever meaning you give it. It's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, you can't get it wrong.
You can't fuck this up. And
Yeah,
it's not even happening. How fun is that?
pressure's off.
Yeah. No regrets, no responsibility.
So
Yeah,
David, were you a speaker from a seeker for most of your life?
Yeah, I would say so, but like it was most of the seeking was around things not in the context of non-duality. So it would just be like that kind of uncomfortableness and that kind of always looking for the next kind of hit of dopamine
Hmm.
or drugs or like the next experience type thing. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, and then I got into Buddhism and then there was some seeking for a while and then I just kind of gave up and forgot about it for a long time and then it kind of came back into my life. Um, I would say like in a kind of casual way. So yeah.
Beautiful.
What about you guys?
I struggled with substance abuse too for about 15 years.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it only helps in the moment.
Yeah,
Mm.
temporary crack hit. But that's to show you that it's temporary and unreliable, because then it's like the clue, you know, what's permanent, what's always here, what never changes.
Mm. I think that, like in my experience, there's a lot of like how would you say like with the addiction thing, there's like kind of a lot of parallels there. I noticed with this awakening uh, non-duality thing. Um, I guess just because it's like an extreme form of what you're describing there, like an extreme form of seeking for something. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, addicted to self.
mm,
Yeah, the self looking for itself in the, like God wearing a VR headset, like pure awareness is, outside of the illusion, looking, aware of the illusion, pervading it,
mm,
illuminating it, projecting it, but, falls for the scam and identifies as the avatar. And that's what we wanted, though, the beautiful game. What is it like to be human when you're not? What is it like to torture yourself and look for yourself? And what was being looked for is the one aware of the looking the whole time. What's being sought is the one aware of the seeking, which is so beautiful.
mm,
So yeah, looking for objectifying yourself and then, you know, distracting yourself with these mental concepts of ways to find yourself again, which just renders more evidence of ways to find yourself again, which is the beautiful hide and seek game. And then seeing through all of it, how playful, seeing it, like all it transmutes everything, just being aware of it. It busts all the myths. But I was always skeptical and I was always trying to figure it out. And ever since I was little, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, what is this body? What the hell is this? And no one knew. None of the parents knew what was going on. And it was like, so then just digging deep all the time, trying to figure shit out and being skeptical and scrutinizing everything and myth busting and yeah. And then it just kept opening, resonating because it's like turning the dial on the radio station, just resonance of already being that. So then rendering evidence of that, you know. You are the one wearing the headset that's infinite and immortal. What about you, Michael?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
You're seeking and
Oh, well, here something felt off at a very early age, but I could never put my finger on it.
mm-hmm.
Like it didn't add up.
Yeah. Because we already know that we're the infinite. So that initial resistance is the alarm clock to wake up, you know? Just like a nightmare at night, the hardcore resistance, the refusal to accept this is what wakes you up. It's all part of it.
Yeah, like you say, Jen, it's like waking up from a bad nightmare.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
I don't
David,
know if
I
you're
heard you.
familiar with, sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, I heard you say that you had that feeling that something was off.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you, are you familiar with like recovery programs like AA and stuff like that? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am through Paul Hederman.
Mm.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah. I've heard of a few people waking up with AA, like it was pointing in
yeah,
ways. I mean, every way is pointing, everything's pointing to itself, but
yeah. That's
Yeah,
my experience as well. Yeah, it's kind of like like a partial version of awakening. So it's like this aspect of personality that um, gets out of control and kind of starts running your life.
mm-hmm.
Kind of like the like a lot of um, the steps in the program and a lot of the practice in it is to kind of get behind that function, get behind that identity of the addict, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like limit
Beautiful.
to addiction. Yeah, so it's like that kind of step back and
Yeah.
objectifying the identity of the addict, and then like a split or a kind of transcendence of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find the like it's a really interesting first stepping stone towards non-duality.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because it is self-inquiry. It's like beginning that
yeah,
scrutinizing and looking what, you know, what's aware of the character. And then when you're aware of being aware, the absolute sees itself. And it's like, oh, snap, I'm not the character.
David, I just wanted to show you this, what I have written here. It was
Oh,
before you even said it. Whose
no way.
whose addiction is it?
Mm.
That is awesome. Hell yeah. You're the one, you're God jacking off in the movie theater watching the movie, like having a blast, you know, the whole time. It's so great.
Come on, you got to post that.
Yeah.
Have you have you checked out our channels, David?
I've no, I've checked out Michael your channel, but I've not checked out anyone else's. No.
Yeah, there's so much resonance. I was listening to your stuff last night. Mm.
How did you guys get into the awakening thing then? Like we were saying, it was kind of like through the
Yeah.
addiction and the recovery from that. Like, what about you guys?
Mine was mental illness, depression and anxiety I struggled with all my life. I was trying to fix myself. I started to have hope that I could somehow uh, be better. And it just sort of snowballed out of control into this incessant seeking. And I sought for about 6 years. And then there was a great giving up, uh, a complete hopelessness, that futility that's it's really grace. It's who knew that's what we really wanted was the futility.
And it's effortless. It's like the trying was appearing to hide it, was resisting, like which is the hide and seek game,
Yeah.
which is just God worshiping itself.
Mm.
But yeah, for me, it was like my mom, when I was little, was a healer, and I witnessed miraculous healings, like brain tumors disappearing and stuff. So I knew that this was malleable and healable and magical. And then my dad was an existentialist who read Being and Nothingness to me when I was little. So I was already questioning, but then going through a lot of, I still identifying as the avatar and suffering and stuff and seeking through psychedelics and stuff. And then, having like the mirror show me that everything was fucking unreliable as hell, like trickster characters and fucked up people that I was appearing as in the dream to shake me awake, just to show me, to open up, to unfurl to that what is permanent, what is always here. And then there was one day when and there was a period where I went through like a darkness where I was like, there is no way in hell this is real. This is nuts. This is fucking crazy. Like, it's psychotic. And I was like, and it doesn't even look real. Like, what the hell? And it would be doomed. I'm like, time and space, if this was real, like, we'd be fucked. There's got to be something permanent, something infinite underneath this. There's got to be. And so then that opening was resonating on the radio station. And then I appeared as my best friend saying, nothing exists outside of your mind. It's all a projection, you know? And then reading the book, Alan Watts' book, the page that said, your God playing hide and seek with itself in a dream. You're dreaming this. And it was like chills down the spine. Like each time it clicked, it was like, whoa, whoa, something heard that. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I was running errands with my best friend in the car, and I was completely relaxed. I wasn't aware of being in a meditative state or whatever, or even trying to, because I wasn't practicing meditation. I hadn't heard of non-duality yet. But there was this just relaxation and just being conscious of being aware on, and awareness. And then the absolute saw itself, and it was just like intense. And it was like, oh my God, like it was just like God seeing itself, It was like, oh my God, I'm not this character. I'm this vast fucking infinite. Like you can't, non-computational, prior to the mind, the source of the mind, not in the body. I don't even need a body. And it was so intense that my best friend pulled over because she thought I was having a seizure or something. And I couldn't even talk for a little while after that. I was just laughing and crying, and it was just overwhelming love, just overwhelming, and then there was 4 months of ecstasy where it was completely obvious that I am everything, making love to myself. This is sensual, a sensory experience. Every sound, every word, the moving of the lips, the air on the skin, everything is me, making love to myself. This is God's mind. And so then there was something happened where there was a shame that came in, or something that happened that was identified with, and that took me out of that. And then that is when the hardcore seeking started. Holy shit, I was obsessed. I was like, I have to get back to that ecstasy. And I was like hardcore on my knees, like, oh my God, it was intense. And so then the 6 hour a day sadhana, meditation, I had to meditate for 3 hours a day. I had to do these rituals. And that was just, resonating on the on the frequency of being what you already are, that you can't attain because you already are it. The one aware of the search and the seeking. But yeah, it was about 6 years, like Leela, where it was hardcore again, and it was and then it was just too obvious, getting too obvious, too obvious. Being aware of it was dissolving it. It was like, yeah, and I could see that it was playing hide and seek by having a problem to solve, like focusing, pure awareness, focusing by identifying on the avatar, focusing on the objective thought that was separate from me, that was saying this isn't it, and then rendering evidence of that playfully, you know.
Cool. Yeah, I always try and describe this kind of mismatch thing where, like you guys were describing, it's like the kind of limit of the personal mind or something like that, or the limit of the intellect. And so it's such a weird experience because it's kind of like um, that personal view or that kind of self view or the mind. Um, it seems to like for me it kind of keeps going on trying to understand it or it like runs on its own. It keeps going on and trying to frame things, and sometimes it does a pretty good job of framing it.
Yeah.
But it's like I can totally feel how you're describing it there. It's almost like it comes through the back door. It's like at a level that's so much more simplistic and profound and just immediate than that function of the mind. But I always try and describe that, and I can never quite put it into words because because
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of part of us is talking on that level. But I just find that a really weird experience. But then rather than it being dysphoric and frightening, like over time it started to become kind of enjoyable to push the limit because it's like it's not real anymore. Yeah, to kind of
Yeah.
yeah, and just to kind of observe the way the mind tries to frame anything to do with non-duality or anything to do with absolute reality, and it's quite funny.
It is funny. I love it. It's like a hobby to um dissect all of it and to see, because you can see how clearly the imagination works and how it renders evidence per resonance, and how all of it's malleable and healable and changeable and imaginary, and each quality is defined by its opposite quality of what it's not. So that's how you perceive, from memory of experience, and its opposite, how it defines itself, which is playful and which makes it appear like a movie or a story, so that it's you as God can experience. This is like a sensory experience. It's amazing. I've been writing about that a lot lately, and just it's fascinating how clever it is too, and how it wants to just like Jack says, it mischievously doesn't want to see itself, it like wants to experience this dream and wants to um, dream what it's like to have a life and have a mortal or finite, experience. But you are that which is infinite, perceiving it, tasting itself. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost comical the way the mind is drunk with power. Like it doesn't want you to see this. No, no, don't come to me. I will
Uh-huh.
handle all issues, and like finally it's like the king has no clothes,
Yeah.
like you're like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, you're just a voice. You're just a thought. Thoughts can't see, thoughts can't hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the body's not conscious. The brain's not conscious. Your consciousness dreaming the body. You're not even
There's
seeing from the eyes.
there is a there is a since childhood, and maybe you guys can resonate with this, but there was a intuition here that wasn't really honored for so long. My own intuition was ignored for a long. I didn't realize quite what it was and how to, and now suddenly it's everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's just intelligence if it just does itself.
Down a question for you, David.
Hmm?
Uh, why is no self-realization rare?
Why is it rare? Yeah. I think maybe because I would say like numbers wise, I would maybe say because most people aren't interested in this investigation really. Um, it's like the majority of people are, you know, engaging in the personal story, I suppose, and haven't even thought about this, or maybe they have, I don't know, but like haven't had what we are talking about, where it gets to the point where you kind of have to address it. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that existential angst.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Do you feel like there's a sort of a fear barrier that, I mean, just to put it in a story that sort of needs to be faced, or there needs to be a bit of a bravery to see this?
yeah, 100% in my experience, there was this, um, like Michael, you were describing there, this intuition or this kind of question that's there, that's kind of always been there. But like for me, it started off kind of like when I was a young kid, kind of like a playful thing, like a kind of playful exploration or consideration of like, this is cool, what is this type of thing. But then as I got older, it started to get ignored. It started to feel like heavier, more serious. And then because that intuition was there, because that feeling was there, that the existential question of like, I don't know what this is, and what I'm doing here, and don't have a clue what's happening at that level. But there's this there's this subjective function where I can know something. I can kind of distract myself that way. I can ignore it. I can seem to be able to ignore it, but it was always it was always here. Sometimes um, more than others. Sometimes it became more obvious, but it was always here, and it's like just turning around and addressing that was something that habitually um, my character, my mind wasn't willing to do. It was just like always looking in the opposite direction because it's like a kind of like visceral, um, existential fear. It's not like the usual fear that I'd, you know, like anxiety with life stuff. It's like this very deep, visceral, existential um, terror generated from this question. Um, and I think like again, intuitively, part of me knew that was there and just didn't want to look at it because it was um, too frightening. It was just like the fear of death, basically, but also the fear of life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because this is like being born again, like the Christian, like Jesus says. Like, yeah, it's.
Mhm. It's like crucifixion first and then
Mm-hmm.
resurrection. Yeah, I felt that too. It would come up in like random moments um, during the time when the seeking started to fall. It almost felt like adrenaline, like and a pulling back away from it,
Mm-hmm.
and then there eventually
Mm-hmm.
there was just a relaxing and
Yeah, when you see through the bullshit, like when you see what the mind was doing the whole time, that was how you were playing hide and seek with yourself. Because I remember, like, when it was getting too obvious that, I am this substratum from which everything's appearing and disappearing, that's formless and bodiless, and, from which the character Jenny appears and disappears. Um, it was getting too obvious, and there was an excitement. There was like butterflies in the stomach, and I was like, Oh wait, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Oh, give me a thought. Give me something to resist. Give me a problem to solve. Give me something to work out. And then it was game over because once I saw that, once I was aware of that, it's just like holy shit, that's the joke, you know? It's like then you can't be fooled anymore. And it's yeah, so that was and then nothing's resisted, so it all came home to play. Everything, all the limited beliefs and paradigms and everything that all the myths that I gave myself to so that I could keep identifying as the character came up to be dissolved in the incinerator, the dumpster fire.
Yeah. And here it was the seeking for my true self was not a casual interest here.
Mhm.
It was hair on fire.
Hell yeah.
Like either the body will die or I'll figure this out, one or the other. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very passionate, like I was too.
yeah,
Hardcore.
yeah. Leela and I have talked about, like she said, when she was, I don't know, you were 5 or something, taking a nap and wondering how other kids could sleep knowing that they were going to die.
Oh,
Mhm.
how sweet. Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't I guess I had just learned about death. I'm not sure. I don't have that memory, but I remember watching little kids sleep soundly. Of course, I was one of them, but
Hmm.
just I don't know how many 5-year-olds contemplate death, but
Hmm. The cool ones. I'm just kidding.
The
right?
The
cool one.
badass ones.
You know,
But
oh, sorry. Go
no,
ahead, Lee.
you go, Michael.
Well, there's just a funny scene out of a Woody Allen movie. I think it's Annie Hall, where the mother takes a young Woody Allen. So they got this little kid actor, who's around 10 wearing Woody Allen glasses. It's hilarious. And she takes him to a psychiatrist and she says, "Tell the man what you told me." And he said, "A meteor's heading straight for Earth and we're all gonna die." And then the mother like elbows him and says, "And what business of that is yours?"
Brilliant.
And that's kind of like society, like the general public is sort of like, what business of what you are is you're like, it's not, they don't think about it.
Hmm. Yeah, even how logical. If I'm aware of the body, well, then I'm not the fucking body. If I'm aware of the character, I'm not the fucking character. But holy shit, we went so long without questioning that. That's hilarious. That's too obvious.
I have another question for you, David.
Go for it.
Uh, what what is the Matrix and how can I see through it?
The Matrix. I love that movie. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Yay. It is good.
I don't know if it was like intentionally written to be talking about that, like what we're talking about, or if it just happened to land like that. But I don't know. But or if that's just my interpretation. But um, yes, I would just describe the Matrix as the the filter of the mind. So like the human or the kind of thought-based filter that um, reality or awareness is looking through that generates the world of the known. So like if I look around, like you said with the VR
Hmm.
headset goes, if I look around, I can see, objects that I can relate to
Hmm.
from me, the looker, and they appear like inherently existing things that I can know. So there's like I know what they are. And then there's like a conclusion. It's like that's a chair, that's a dinosaur toy, or something like that. But then there as well, there's like what's not that, the unknowableness of it, like the mystery of it. what's there or what's here in the absence of that filter. So it's like the filter is projecting like an augmented reality onto the sense experience, and it all relates back to this point of view of the one who knows, the one in this looking out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in my experience, those that augmented reality, those objects appear like solid and real, and then you kind of start to see it as a symbol, see it as like a projection of the mind that is not
Mm-hmm.
actually inherently there, but there is an appearance of it there. So it's like you get in touch with what's not the known, this kind of unknowable mystery.
Mm-hmm.
This for me is when I got the most intense existential thing because largely up to that point, awakening was like a kind of idea to me in a sense. There was a kind of it was theoretical, but then I started seeing it and
Mm-hmm.
seeing through the matrix and the immediate reality, and it just started to get really real, like really real, really like viscerally frightening.
Mm.
Because from that VR headset, from that point of view, it, it's like I was seeing something that it was unknowable that I couldn't understand. I was seeing like the face of God, people call it, or like I was seeing um
Mm-hmm.
beyond my limits, like immediately. Um yeah, so it's like and it's like what's there that's not those augmentations is just like impossible to talk
Mm-hmm.
about. But even the projections, even the appearances of the objects and the known world is still made of that mystery. It's like it's not even separate from
Yeah,
unknowable. Yeah. So
it
it's
is
like,
the formless. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like this fascinating exploration of the senses.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. It's an
just,
infinite
yeah,
self-discovery. Like,
just get
because
lost in it. Like,
yeah, that same here. I'm geeking out every day. Like, I'm just, and it's like downloads, 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 like revelation, revelation, like, holy shit. Like Nisargadatta said, once you realize, recognize that you're Pada Brahman, all the mysteries of the universe are revealed to you, and you can see through everything. You can see how brilliant this works, how, um, and so being the sentience, the existence itself, the pure absolute awareness that is the source of everything, because how can it appear to exist without you being aware of it? You are the source of it. But looking through that VR, you are giving rise to this hallucination, to this illusion, and it's all imagined. And just like having a daydream, imagining characters waking up or seeking or whatever, how can you be separate from it? You're imagining it and it's not even happening. And you're not, so it's your mind. And then you can see from the reference points of opposite qualities, negating what you're not, you can sense what you are. So this whole beautiful dream is your mirror so that you can see yourself as the invisible formless, which totally makes sense. Being singular, you'd have to imagine, form, opposite, quality.
Mhm.
Two, you'd have to imagine two to experience yourself as one.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
polarities
Mm-hmm.
make each other.
Yeah, it is a sensory experience, and there's only one, sensing all of this sensually, making love to itself through every quality, every sensation.
Yeah, I was gonna just share with you, David, the first time I saw the glitch in the Matrix,
Oh,
the black cat.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
had a black cat one too. How funny.
yeah, well, that's in the Matrix. He sees the cat twice,
That's
yeah,
right.
and he
Yeah.
says that, and the guy goes, "Uh-oh." So I was in the kitchen, which is just to my left, and I was just standing there in front of the refrigerator. Um, and it dawned on me that I couldn't see all sides of the refrigerator at the same time. Like
Mm.
I assumed it was a solid, full
Mm-hmm.
object, but I actually, when I looked at my actual visual proof, it was an assumption that there was the back of the refrigerator because I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't seeing it in that moment. And I started looking at all the objects, and you can do it right now. Look at every object. You don't see any object in its entirety. You only
Mm-hmm.
see what you need to see. And it kind of hit me like a movie set. When they build a movie set, they realize they don't need to, it's way more economical just to build the front of the movie saloon. Put
Yeah.
some music and some can girls recording, some alcohol at the bar, and boom,
Yeah.
you got. So if you look around, everything begins, if you just stare at anything long enough, it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
You
loved
get to
how
get the sense sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I love how you described that in your video I watched last night. Go in sort of directly into the senses and investigating with all your senses and sort of being like that's just a thought to anything that arises.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And what's aware of the thought? Boom. Game over. I love that, Michael. That's so true. It's like Jack was talking about that this morning, like it's 2D. Because like there's like a child, the analogy of being a child before the illusion of object permanence. It is like that, like the experiment with the teddy bear, like the
Mm.
child, they covered up the teddy bear with the pillow and the teddy bear doesn't exist, you know? It never happened.
Mhm.
How fun. But that made the movie interesting, and falling for it
Yeah.
and then like every story has the conflict and the resolution and the upheavals that made it dramatic. So that you as God that's watching the movie in the theater that's completely, you know, in awe of all of it could fall for being in the movie. I mean, what is that like?
You have to have the beginning, the middle, and the punchline to actually get the joke.
Yeah. And the contrast makes it dramatic, it's that reference point to the memory of the opposite or the memory of it experientially.
Quite like those analogies, like the movie one, and I quite like the way of describing it as like an artwork. So
Mm.
it's like an artwork that is appreciating itself, that's like aware of itself. It's
Yeah.
self-aware work of art, but there's no one looking. It's like looking at
Hmm.
itself. And it's like
Beautiful.
no interpretation to it other than itself. So everything refers back to the appearance or whatever this is. It's always kind of referring back to itself, but nothing else.
Yeah. Self-aware.
Yeah, it's like not knowing is not encouraged in society. No kid ever raised his hand and went, I don't know, I don't know. It's you just are
Hmm.
so ingrained that it's all about knowing, and the more you know, the better. And this is
Hmm.
so the opposite. This is all about what is it that's here is unknown.
Because you are the knowing.
Mhm.
It can't stand apart from yourself.
Yeah.
And so infinite, can't be measured. You solve just like the Gödel's the math problem of where he discovered that it's infinite. Once you solve one problem, there's another. You can't. There's no theory of everything because it's so freaking infinite. You're so infinite.
Do you guys remember? do you have like a memory of before this character? Like I don't know if it's like from childhood, like before the character was built, but like I get this like nostalgic thing, and it's like a visceral nostalgia. I don't know quite how to describe it, but it's like a remembering, but it's remembering here, but it's remembering something that was before
Mm-hmm.
character.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Like the pure I am, you mean, yeah,
Mm.
without the I am this and that. Yeah, totally.
Like pure presence.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of feel like before, like when you were really little and you haven't fully identified yet.
Mm-hmm. Before your mom said, "You're such and such name, and you're the kid, you're the avatar. You're not the one but wearing the VR headset." You know what's so beautiful? My sister, who has a different mom, one of my older sisters, I was talking about this. I don't talk about it very often to them because they're on a different radio station. So we can all measure so as one mind perceiving sensations measure consciousness. But which is already awakened, already free. There's no one not awake. There's no one suffering. That's the joke. No world to save. Appearing as characters that are unawake to show you that you're awake or whatever, playfully. Um, but she said that when she was little, in reference to talking about this, that you're already the one wearing the VR headset, you're not the character. She said she was in the car with her mom, really little, and she said, "Mom," because she had a recognition. She was like, am I really me?" And the mom was like, "Of course you are. Your name's Chrissy, and you're a person, and you're a human, and you were born." How beautiful.
And then what does she say when the kid says, "And where was I before I was born?"
Exactly.
That's a good
I,
question to feel into.
yeah, because that hits the target too. That self-inquiry that goes back to the source. The absolute sees itself every time you ask those questions. The
Yeah,
same as deep sleep at night. The character dies every night. And you're the absolute substratum from which it wakes up into every morning.
yeah. Indira and I were talking yesterday about it's really for them, you have to see this for yourself. You know, it's not going to ultimately be in a book or a video. You have
Hmm.
to look directly, you know?
Yeah.
Experiential, yeah. Because it's non-computational, because you are it already. So you can't get it with thoughts or concepts or mind, because you're the source of the mind. How sweet. But through the reflection of the mind, the mirror of the mind, you see yourself. Because how else could you have experienced yourself?
Here's a David quote. This is too simple to be objectified.
Beautiful.
I always describe it now as like a backwards path because I got really hung up on um, progressing to something or like following that kind of looking out of the mind. Like even after there was this had come into, so to speak, experience or like this had opened up an experience, there was still this that's not it type thing or this isn't it. And, like
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
looking at it just you know I wasn't in control of it. It was just happening on its own. But
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, it's like it's such a backwards thing. It's it's so inexplicably stupid simple. It's almost like the mind just can't see it. The mind can't see it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's too easy, and that's the problem for
Mhm.
the mind that's, the hide and seek game, distracting itself with the looking for it in a concept but what is it without a thought? Hits the target.
There's always this feeling of like I knew this already. It's like, of course I am this already, but it's like, what was I expecting? I was
Already.
expecting something
Mhm.
else. Yeah.
David, you get the gold star. You used the magic word already.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
ding ding ding.
Yeah, it's already. That's why you can't find it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Prior is another good word.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to where you just can't, words just don't do it justice. Mm. Even saying this is it, or no one's here, or there's only what's happening. It's like the finger pointing to itself, you know?
And the mind not wanting to see this, the struggle for so long is now seen completely differently. So before it was resisted. I didn't like that I kept what's called meing and being. So you
Mhm.
would be clear one moment, and the next moment, out of nowhere, a thought would arise, and somehow you'd be involved with it.
Yeah, and that was just a thought. The meaning and being was just a thought that was resonated with, and so then imaginary, rendered evidence of, projected out, like, oh, I need to keep looking. So that's because it just keeps rendering evidence of resonance. So then seeing through that is what transmutes it and dissolves it, and then it's game over.
Well, here I have to say, I don't have the same, like the mind now is free to do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a problem anymore, the me
Mhm.
being. It's just
Oh
not.
yeah, that's non-resistance. If it's allowed to be there, then it disappears.
Yeah, anything can arise.
Yeah.
And that's not suspected, is it?
But I'm saying I've noticed with seekers that that is their telltale signal that they're not there yet. I had it, I was being,
Mhm.
it was all beautiful, I was one with everything like that. And then suddenly something's gone horribly wrong. And I just want to say, no, nothing's gone wrong. You're still,
That's it too. That's it too. When you see that the me's it too, the distract, because like I used to separate being in meditation and being aware of being aware, and then being like, oh my God, that's my true self. Yeah, this is it. And then, oh wait, I have to go work on a project. That's going to be a fucking distraction because that's separate. That's different. But that's just another limited belief that was being resonated on. And once you're aware of that, it transmutes and dissolves and it pours out into holy shit, it is everything. Everything's the meditation. The distraction of work, the freaking everything's it. The taste of this chocolate, the sound of this voice, the air on the skin, the sitting on a seat, the walking down the street, everything. It's all one God making love to itself through every sensation.
Even
The,
dissociating.
mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing uh, there's been a few one-on-ones lately where in the imagination of me appearing to talk to myself as bodies, the other body is resonating and it clicks and they're like, oh my God. And they're like recognizing, and it's like, holy shit, there's nothing to do. I've been saying lately, don't be surprised. This might not happen, but it could. That just like unplugging a fan that's still oscillating, the habitual thought, this isn't it, can come back up. To
Mhm.
come home, it's a homecoming. But then when you're aware of that, it immediately dissolves and integrates and it's seen for what it is and then it disappears. But I just remind like, don't be surprised if that happens for a little while. And the more it's not resisted, the more it's dissolved.
Yeah, there can be a bit of a momentum and
Mhm.
yeah, a little bit of stickiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I understand it, the stickiness. I get, so to say, the mind, it's energy. It wants to continue to run the show. Like everything is energy, it wants to live, you know? Even if you like cut a leg off a bug, it will keep trying to crawl. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what energy does. So suddenly there was no more animosity between me and my mind, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I left my mind alone and to do its thing, it kind of left me alone.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not separate. Yeah. And
I have
just,
another. Oh,
hmm?
go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, David said awakening was the only option.
Yay! It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's a what a relief. It's gonna happen whether you like it or not.
Mhm.
David, I see you've been starting to do one-on-one Zooms. I saw you posted a video about it. How's that going for you, your one-on-ones? I know it's kind of new.
Yeah, so far so good. It's nice talking to people that I've talked to just via email for a long time and actually like connecting with them more directly because it's like
Beautiful.
my only experience of these people is just like a bunch of words on a screen. So it's nice to
Yeah.
get direct with it and yeah, but like the main thing that I'm noticing is like we're kind of discussing here, there's this surface level of the the character and the character story in the mind and like this surface level conversation between two people. But what I really feel more and more and more now is this kind of deeper, more inherent, more direct communication that's going on. And it's like um there's like a I don't know how to describe it. There's like a, a deep, profound wisdom in this process that I kind of pick up through talking to people that seems to be at least right now it seems to be somewhat disconnected at that level from the character's story and there's like a lot of uh, doubt there and there's like a little bit of mistrust of or not trusting that intuition. It's a really strange thing to see because it's like that wisdom there, that inherent awakeness, that inherent beauty and perfection is like you're face to face with it, so to speak, you are it. But then there's just these mind movements coming in that seem to be obscuring it.
Hmm.
But it's almost like the conversation isn't happening at a conscious level. It is partially, but it's happening like a deeper level
Yeah.
that I can't quite explain. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about that on your video and you describe it so beautifully.
Hmm.
It's energetic. I mean, we try to give it different words for something we don't understand, but
Hmm.
energetic, intuitive.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is like an invisible communication. This
Yeah.
talks to itself, you know.
Silent transmission. Yeah, it's all the energy. You could sit there even talking about what you're having for dinner tonight and you're transmitting that energy of being, It doesn't matter what's said. It can even be in the silence, just sitting there and looking at the screen. And also the resonance of already being it renders the evidence of imagining a character on the screen talking to yourself of what you already know. So just one God talking to itself in the imagination that's already awakened.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I feel like it's the wisdom is everything. It's like it's all wisdom when it's not taken from a point of view, and when
Hmm.
a personal point of view isn't trying to understand it, like all of it's just profound wisdom, like in perfection. It's like one
Hmm.
non-dual perfection all happening simultaneously at once, and it's like just that pulling
Yeah.
into the view makes it something, makes it mean this or that, but it's really just all perfection.
Was there was there anything, David, that surprised you about awakening?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the weirdest one, right, is when when that mental narrative wasn't there all the time, distracting me up into my head. I started kind of just looking at things, like looking at the world, kind of appreciating presence as the senses. And
Mm.
the weirdest one was this strange assumption that I always had that I never looked at. It's like the visual field start to get more clear and more kind of like um more interesting, just clear as I'd describe it. But it's this looking out. There was this an assumption here that for some reason I'm looking from somewhere, or I'm like looking through this window.
Mm.
And I just happened to notice that, and I was like, I don't believe that. There's nothing here. I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was looking from something, but like
Yeah.
it just simply was never there. It was this strange, kind of distracting assumption that was
Mm-hmm.
inherent. That was probably the most surprising thing because it's like a removal of the barrier that was keeping me in here. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
I went out to the world, and the world came into me and met in the middle.
Yeah.
Such that it was always non-dual.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was probably the strangest experience um, because of the simplicity of the assumption that I had taken to be real, like probably most of my life, that I just had to simply look or, you know, um, simply not keep looking for something and look at what's here for it to become
Mhm.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah, what knows this? What's knowing?
Hmm.
What's always this, always this conscious presence, this palpable sentience, this I amness, this beingness that's so infinite and non-local, not inside the body, can't be contained into anything, is, the entire universe, the totality of everything that you are. Everything's appearing, within you is pure consciousness, aware of itself, essentially. Yeah, it's so amazing. Yeah, so it's like that where it felt like it was in the body is just all inclusive. It's this whole thing is the fucking body. Yeah, so cool.
Did you guys have I had this, do you know the chakra map? I don't know if it's from yoga or something like that. I don't know too much about it, but it's like this map of the different kind of
Hmm.
energy centers in the body. And I never believed in it, never thought about it. But um, like you said, there's this belief, this holding in this local position. And for me, it was like right here in the heart. But it was like I'd maybe describe it as contraction's a good word, but I would maybe describe it as like an accumulation of my emotion and
Hmm.
me position in here. And that seemed to be like the thing that was driving the mind, driving the narratives, and driving the seeking and the looking for was like a looking away from the
Hmm.
body, looking for somewhere else. And I noticed that the thoughts would co-arise with this
Hmm.
increased intensity in this kind of emotional center. So it was like they were working together. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, because as pure awareness, like God in the movie theater, not in the movie, but or God wearing the VR headset, by localizing, awareness, identifying as inside the avatar, inside the body, created that illusion of subject to object, which appeared to separate or objectify it. And it's so interesting because as pure awareness, you are what you're aware of, or you become, you're rendering it. So like you're illuminating the picture on the screen. You are the existence itself, giving rise to the VR, images and bodies and stuff. So it can easily get lost, like that analogy of the dog and the squirrel, like squirrel, it's like when it's locked on to being in the character, then every thought, it's like aware, just like, and then absorbed in that, like, imbibed in that, and that's how it plays hide and seek, or has the unique human experience, or what is it like to be mortal, what is it like to be finite. That's the only way you'd be able to do that, is if you fell for your own scam with the sweet thoughts attracting like thoughts, like a magnet, because like when you resonate on that conceptual idea, you mentally project it, you render evidence of it, so it's playful.
David, did you feel a compassion arise without the personal aspect?
Passion. Yeah, like compassion and kind of like a kind of adoration, I would say, of what I've taken myself to be and taking other people to be, like a kind of adoration and at the same time appreciation. Um, I'm not sure if that means compassion, but
Mhm.
um, just like not being heavy anymore, um, not having to be resisted anymore, like seeing it for what it is, gave the
Mhm.
gave the whole thing kind of like an endearing quality rather than like a real frightening quality that had to be resisted or had to be escaped from. But like endearing, but at the same time like a reverence for the whole thing and like how that experience came to be real or seem real, and then how it's not. It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like a um reverence in a way that's like um for the most incredible scam. It was the
Yeah.
most incredible show, the most incredible trick reality is playing on itself. That is just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, and it's like it's miraculous in its own right. It's as miraculous as the rest of or all of this. It's that just love and appreciation and reverence and adoration for it. This is just a miracle. It's like hitting the jackpot. And
Hmm.
that is like all the boundaries and the barriers, the opposition, the things all kind of falls away. And it's just like everything's cozy. I like the word cozy.
Mhm.
Everything is, um, it's a, I don't know how to put it in words. It's like an appreciation. It's like an ongoing, immediate love and appreciation for all of it. All of it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Gorgeous.
beautiful. Yeah, and it's like falling into your own arms. You were there all along. That you had,
Mm.
you're infinite and can't die. And I mean, it felt more safe than ever. I was like, oh my gosh, what a relief. I'm not this finite. I'm not the finite sensations. I'm dreaming them so that I can experience myself as this infinite that never dies.
Yeah. I could see the innocence here and, in others. It was all just innocent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same
Not because it's
here.
all you.
Yes, same here, Leela. The more that the Michael character was loved and accepted for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that it became more loving to others. So when others were resisting, instead of annoyance or anger or they shouldn't be doing that, there was complete love and understanding, like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is the unconditional loving mother that nurses, it's like, It's sweet because it's all done and just for fun, all one and just for fun.
Yeah,
Have you-
it's nice not having to look for, because I always felt like David was looking to get love, but at the same time, really felt like he was unlovable. So I had
Hmm.
to constantly, in a kind of conditional way, seek it. But then, like you're saying, when it's the love is just inherent, that's just like what this is.
Hmm.
There's no need to seek it, and you can just be it, and in being it, it can expand out to other
Hmm.
people, just everything that's here.
Yes, totally. And it's so wild. I've been talking about lately how it changes the movie, because how you resonate as being, you render evidence of. So it's like I've noticed all I see are people smiling and waving, and it's just everything's amazing. And like my son today, we were walking and he was like, "This is so awesome. Just everything. It's just everything's awesome." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's always awesome. Like you are that which is aware of it being awesome or not awesome. That is always awesome. That's always, this is awesome."
Yeah.
It's so cool. And to experience it not being awesome so that you can experience it being infinitely awesome.
Until it hits you that the object is neutral.
Hmm.
The awesomeness or unawesomeness isn't coming from the refrigerator.
Yeah.
You know, it's so beautiful to see that, to see
Hmm.
that nothing can exist without you.
Yeah. You're the source of it. You can't get any further back. You can't back up any further. You are it that you're looking for. And I remember like feeling so much gratitude for even appearing as the trickster characters that were a nightmare, to wake me up from the dream, but also even my mom was unreliable when I needed her the most, which was so beautiful because it forced me to figure out that I am the source of my own bliss. No one else, like all of these icons in consciousness are not even conscious. I'm consciousness appearing as the icon
Mhm.
from the dream. And even like the B movie, how like it sometimes in the movie it was like a drama or a comedy or romance, and then you get your B movie, which was I had a little section of that where I thought everyone was an NPC, and I was like, "There's no way this is real. This is ridiculous." And so it's like that's amazing. That's just part of the opening, the recognition, the resonance.
I'm sorry, you said you thought everybody was an NPC?
Yeah, a non-character player, just like a backdrop person in the fucking movie,
Oh,
and then there was rendering evidence of that where it was just like so fake. It was like fake and plastic and like the cardboard play setting. It was not real, not real. And so then that was showing me, yeah, wake up. This is a dream. You're God dreaming this. You're God. And then after that, when I realized it's all resonance and it's like I'm outside of the illusion of space time, aware of it, rendering it, like illuminating it just for fun, just to experience myself as everything. Then it was like playtime. So then I was having fun with that resonance because you can resonate on anything and render evidence of it just for fun. It's playful. So then it became entertainment. Only as limited as you resonate as, and then you render evidence of that, or you're limitless, and then you render evidence of that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So the movie can change. It can appear to because as above, so below. It's
Yeah.
hmm.
I feel like law of attraction is real. It's just it's on autopilot.
mhm.
Not something you can use as a tool to manipulate reality.
It's
Uh,
just effortless being. Yeah, it's just
mm,
appearing like a dream at night.
Yeah, so here it was noticing what was looking out my eyes, like becoming aware that there was something here that never spoke.
hmm
We have a fancy label, pure awareness, but that
mm,
doesn't even begin to you don't even need that label.
mm.
Yeah, what is it without a thought?
Pure wonder.
Mhm.
David, would you give me permission to read some of your words on my channel?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I
Wow.
like to do like a slow sort of meditative uh narration of other speakers, but I'll share all your links and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, cool. If you guys link me, I'll find your channels as well, and I'll subscribe.
Cool.
And random question, David, what's your favorite kind of music? What do you like to listen to?
Uh, Metal,
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yes.
but like progressive metal.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like I went through a phase where I would really associate the metal with like this kind of like teenage angst aspect of personality. So when I listened to it, I used to listen to it and like go into like fantasies in my head and like narratives
Mhm.
and stuff. So when I listened to it, like it would automatically create this feeling of like anxiety and anger. So I stopped listening to it for a while and just
Mhm.
listened to like more upbeat stuff, classical and so on. But like a wee while ago, I started listening again, and it's still my favorite
Yeah.
genre.
Hey.
Yeah,
Ah!
total metalhead.
I did the
Mhm.
same thing. I was like when I was seeking and only doing the non-duality videos and like um then when the seeking stopped, it was back to like hardcore or even dark music. It was like that's what it wanted immediately. So then I made this sexy vampire music playlist and was just like excited about everything dark and yeah. So what's a band in particular that you are liking right now?
Have you heard of Volbeat?
What is it?
Volbeat.
I don't think so.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
it's like Elvis metal, so it's heavy metal, but the whole band's kind of styled themselves off of Elvis, and that
Wow.
yeah, it's really weird, but I like them. I think they're really good.
I want to
Can
look
you,
that
can you
up.
spell it? Can you spell the name?
Volbeat, Volbeat.
Nice. Okay, I'll
Okay.
look that up. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you.
How fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear this non-dual message in lyrics a lot now and see it sort of in movies, and it seems to be everything's kind of screaming it.
Yeah, everything's the clue. Everything's God waking itself up from the dream. It's in every show we watch now. I get my boyfriend to pause it, rewind, and then I video it because it's saying this. At least one line is deep as fuck in every fucking movie, every show, and then I was listening, my boys are into 90s stuff that I was into, like the grunge stuff in the 90s, and I'm all excited about them being into it. So we've been blasting it, running errands and stuff. And then I'll look at the lyrics and I'm like, holy shit, it was saying that the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
It's all about your God, you're dreaming this and it's just amazing. For
Yeah,
for ears ready to hear. It wasn't, it's just like that.
yeah. This is the
Wasn't
ultimate cosmic joke. You already are what you seek.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's now, immediately now. There's no future for it to attain and or
Yeah, that's
no.
why already.
Mm-hmm.
Already means done. Case closed.
Yeah. Court adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
David, do you have any final thoughts or anything to say?
Um, well, yeah, it's just really nice to meet you guys. It's really nice to talk in this context because um, you know, I don't generally talk to people about this. I kind of almost don't talk to people about this at all. So, but it's really nice to kind of be in company.
Yay.
Yeah,
Well, you can reach out anytime. We can even have a phone call, four-way chat or something anytime.
awesome.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we
it.
Thank you.
we have like chats during the week, like on the phone, and
Yeah.
it's so beautiful to appear as friends, talking to itself as one, like, and this is all I want to talk about. Like, it's
Mhm.
amazing.
I'm
Same.
so glad you decided to join us, David.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Mhm.
Lovely to be here.
Pleasure.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you, my fellow unicorns.
Yes.
Mm,
Mwah, love you guys.
Love you
Yay.
guys. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yay. Bye.